My friend, let's call her Sarah, just hit $22,000 in her emergency fund. 6 months of expenses, exactly like she was supposed to save. She tells me this with genuine relief in her voice, like she finally did the responsible thing. Except, she's got $9,400 in credit card debt at 22% interest. I did the math right there. She's losing $2,067 a year while her savings earns maybe $110. Sarah is following all the rules, doing exactly what she was told, and she's mathematically bleeding $2,000 every single year because the most repeated piece of personal finance advice in America is fundamentally broken. Your emergency fund isn't protecting you, it's bankrupting you in slow motion. In the feeling of security it gives you, pure illusion. My name is Rob, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and how it actually works. If you feel like you're doing everything right but still not getting ahead, subscribe and hit the like button. It genuinely helps. It was Tuesday night, wasn't it? Or maybe last weekend. You were feeling anxious about something, work, life, money, whatever, and you opened that app, not to transfer money, not to pay a bill, just to see the number, just to feel okay for a second. And when you saw it still sitting there, you exhaled. Okay. At least I have this. At least I'm doing one thing right. I'm not judging you. I've been there. Most of us have. But here's what I need you to understand. That number isn't a financial tool. That's an emotional crush. And there's a massive difference between the two. Your emergency fund has become what you check when you need proof you're not completely screwing up your financial life. It's a monument to the idea that you're responsible, that you're prepared, that you're adulting correctly. And because it serves that emotional purpose, you've made it sacred, untouchable. You won't use it for actual emergencies. You definitely won't use it for opportunities. You just maintain it, feed it, look at it for comfort. Meanwhile, your credit card debt compounds. The investment accounts you don't have money for could be growing. Inflation slowly eats away at that cash. 5 years pass while you protect a number that isn't actually protecting you. The question nobody asks is, what is this money actually doing for you? Not how it makes you feel, what is it strategically accomplishing? And that's where this whole thing falls apart. The 3 to 6 months of expenses rule is personal finance gospel. You've heard it from every guru, every article, every well-meaning parent. Here's what nobody tells you. Your parents followed this rule when savings accounts paid 5% interest. Yours pays 0.5%. That's not an update. That's a completely different game with the same rulebook. And you wonder why you're losing. This advice was designed for different interest rates, different credit access, different investment fees, different job markets. You're playing 2025 on a 1995 strategy guide, and financial advisors keep repeating it because it's simple, it's sellable, and nobody gets in trouble for giving safe advice. It's the financial equivalent of eat your vegetables. Sounds responsible, feels good. But here's the actual truth. The 3 to 6 months rule doesn't ask about your debt. It doesn't care about your opportunity cost. It doesn't differentiate between a dual income household with great insurance and a single freelancer with health issues. It's one-size-fits-all advice for an intensely personal decision. And the biggest lie is the false binary it creates. You're either saving for emergencies or you're irresponsible with money. That's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. You felt the wrongness of this choice for months. The real question is, what does my liquidity actually need to look like given my specific risks, my debt, my opportunities, and my actual goals? But that question is harder. It requires thinking. It doesn't fit on an Instagram post. So instead, millions of people follow a generic rule that's destroying their financial futures with a clean conscience because they're being responsible. Let me show you what this is actually costing you. 3 scenarios. I need you to really sit with these numbers. Scenario 1, the classic mistake. You have $15,000 in savings earning $75 a year. You also have $8,000 in credit card debt costing you $1,600 a year. You're losing $1,500 every single year, guaranteed. That's a car payment every month. That's a vacation. That's gone. You're not investing that money. You're not even breaking even. You're setting $1,500 bills on fire annually and calling it financial security. Scenario 2, the opportunity cost. You're 28. You've built a $20,000 emergency fund over the past few years, keeping it safe in savings. That same $20,000 invested for 10 years at 8% average return is $43,000. You're not choosing safety, you're choosing to be $23,000 poorer in 10 years. In 20 years, the invested money is $93,000. Your savings is still $20,000, actually less because inflation. You just gave up $73,000 for the feeling of security. Scenario 3, the invisible erosion. You have $25,000 saved right now. You're proud. It took years. At 3% inflation, that money loses $750 of purchasing power every single year. In 5 years, your $25,000 buys what $21,500 buys today. You didn't spend it, you didn't lose it in a crash. It just evaporated, slowly, invisibly, while you watched. And you know this math. You've known it for months, maybe years. So why are you still doing it? Let me show you the trap. Because this isn't about math. If it was just math, you'd have moved that money the day you learned about compound interest. The real reason you keep doing this, the reason Sarah keeps bleeding money while sitting on $22,000, is psychological. Here's the mechanism. Your emergency fund has become so sacred that it's unusable. You won't use it for actual emergencies. Well, I could cover the car repair with credit, so I shouldn't use the emergency fund. You won't use it for opportunities. I got offered a better job in another city, but I'd have to rebuild my fund there, so I'll stay. You won't deploy it strategically. I know I should pay off this debt, but what if there's an emergency after? It's not a tool anymore. It's a monument, a psychological anchor, and having it makes you less flexible, less able to respond to opportunities or real threats. This is loss aversion. The pain of potentially losing what you have is more powerful than the gain of using it wisely, so you protect it, defend it, rationalize keeping it exactly where it is. Meanwhile, real emergencies are happening, just not the ones you imagined. The emergency is the $1,500 a year you're bleeding to interest. The emergency is missing your employer's 401k match, literally free money. The emergency is that you're 35 and haven't started investing because you're still building your fund.
The emergency is right now. It's been happening the whole time, but it doesn't feel like an emergency because it's slow, invisible, comfortable. Here's the question. If you've had this fund for 3 years and never touched it, not once, is it an emergency fund, or is it just money you're too scared to use? You got a raise last year, the fund stayed the same. You got a tax refund, the fund stayed the same. Your car needed $1,800 in repairs, you put it on credit instead of touching the fund. Because somewhere deep down you know if you touch it, you're not responsible anymore. And that's the identity you're protecting. Not your financial future, your identity. There's a different way, and it's not about abandoning accessible money. It's about building actual security instead of the illusion of it. Security is not a pile of cash in one account. Security is having the right amount of liquidity at different levels of accessibility matched to different types of risk. I call it the liquidity ladder. Here's what it looks like. Tier 1, the buffer. $1,000 to $2,000 in checking. This is for overdraft protection and tiny unexpected expenses. You step on a nail, you need a prescription, your parking meter app glitches. This is whoops money, not planning for an employment money. Whoops money. Tier 2, actual emergency fund. 1 to 2 months in high-yield savings. Notice I didn't say 3 to 6 months, I said 1 to 2, because most actual emergencies, car repair, medical deductible, short-term income gap, don't need 6 months of expenses. They need a few $1,000s you can access in a day. You're not planning for a zombie apocalypse, you're planning for a transmission failure. Tier 3, the Roth IRA hack. Here's the hack nobody tells you about. Roth IRA contributions, not gains, just what you put in, can come out anytime. Tax-free, penalty-free. So that's $7,000 you contribute, it's growing for retirement, compounding, working. But if your life implodes, it's there. You're not locked in a cage. This is liquidity that's actually building wealth while still being reachable if disaster strikes. Tier 4, taxable brokerage in conservative allocation. Money invested, maybe 60% stocks, 40% bonds, takes 3 to 5 days to sell and transfer, but it's accessible. This is for bigger emergencies, opportunities, or bridge funding. Tier 5, available credit as catastrophic backup. I'm not saying use credit cards for emergencies as your first move, but let's be honest, if something catastrophic happens, you have access to credit. It exists. It's part of your liquidity picture. Not ideal, but real. Now here's the key. Your ladder is personalized based on your situation. Dual income households, stable jobs, great insurance, in-demand fields. You don't need 6 months in cash. You need 1 to 2 months max. Single parent, teacher, okay insurance, student loans, maybe 3 to 4 months makes sense. Freelance graphic designer with highly variable income, 5 to 6 months in accessible funds is smart. See, it's not 3 to 6 months for everyone. It's what does your risk actually look like? This is strategy, not rules. And once you have this ladder built, you're not checking your savings for emotional comfort. You're looking at your complete financial picture and making strategic decisions. That's power. That's actual security. But before you build this, there's something you need to handle first. We need to talk about the thing making you squirm right now. Debt. High interest debt. If you have credit card debt, personal loans, anything above 7% interest, hear this clearly. You are already in an emergency. Right now, today. You don't need to prepare for a hypothetical emergency while a guaranteed financial disaster is happening in real time. You have $4,200 on a Discover card, or $7,800 across 3 cards, or a $12,000 personal loan you took out 2 years ago and barely touched the principal. I don't know the exact number, but you do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You felt it in your chest when I said high-interest debt. Here's the priority order that actually makes sense. 1. $1,000 cash buffer, so you're not on the absolute edge. 2. Destroy high-interest debt. Anything above 7%, attack this with everything you have. 3. Employer 401k match. Free money. Take it. 4. Build your liquidity ladder. Now you can build tiers 2, 3, and 4. 5. Everything else. Max retirement, invest, save for goals. This order optimizes for safety and wealth building because paying off 19.99% credit card debt is a guaranteed 19.99% return on your money. You will never find an investment that good. Never. When you pay off that debt, you're not being reckless. You're making the single best investment available to you. But Rob, what if there's an emergency while I'm paying off debt? That's what the $1,000 buffer is for. That's what available credit is for in a true catastrophe. And honestly, the emergency of carrying high-interest debt is more certain and more expensive than the hypothetical emergency you're imagining. The math is non-negotiable. Debt above 7% is a financial fire. You don't save for potential future fires while your house is currently burning. You put out the fire first. I know this is uncomfortable, and I know some of you feel shame about the debt, and you've been treating your emergency fund like proof you're still responsible despite it. Let that go.
You're not irresponsible for having debt, but you are being strategically unwise by letting it compound while you hoard cash. The responsible thing is to face the math, make a plan, and execute it. Remember Sarah, the $22,000 in savings, $9,400 in debt? I showed her this math. 3 months later, debt's gone. She's got $12,600 in savings, her actual number, and the rest is in her Roth IRA. She told me she sleeps better now, not because she has more money, because she's not pretending anymore. You have $6,800 in credit card debt right now. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Tomorrow morning, you're going to make a payment. Not the minimum, a real one. Because this stops today. Let's talk about what you're actually afraid of. Because emergency is this vague, scary word that could mean anything, so you assume you need a ton of cash for any possible scenario. Let's break this into actual categories with actual solutions. Medical emergency plus major repairs. What you're imagining, a surprise $50,000 hospital bill or your car exploding. The reality, if you have health insurance, your max out-of-pocket is capped. For 2025, that's $9,450 for an individual. Most major repairs, car transmission, water heater, HVAC, are $2,000 to $5,000. The solution? Decent insurance plus $5,000 to $10,000 accessible across your ladder, an HSA if you're eligible. This is an insurance problem with a cash component, not a 6 months of expenses and savings problem. Job loss. What you're imagining, getting fired unexpectedly and needing 6 months of cash to survive. The reality? Average job search for professionals is 3 to 5 months. Most people don't go from employed to zero income overnight. There's severance, unemployment benefits, side income.
But you're not afraid of being unemployed for 6 months. You're afraid of the shame, of telling your parents, of your partner looking at you differently, of LinkedIn posts from former coworkers while you're sending out resumes. That's what you're really saving for, and cash doesn't fix it. Your network does, your skills do, your reputation does. The solution: strong professional network, marketable skills, a LinkedIn profile that doesn't suck, and 2 to 3 months of accessible funds plus available credit if it extends longer. The real emergency fund for job loss is career capital. Cash is secondary. So what's your number? Not the generic number, your specific strategic number. Here's the framework. Start with your monthly expenses. Let's say that's $3,500. If your income is stable, dual income, both employed, in-demand skills, multiply by 2 months, that's $7,000. If it's somewhat variable, single income, stable job, multiply by 3 months, that's $10,500. If it's highly variable, freelance, gig work, multiply by 5 months, that's $17,500. If you have gaps in insurance, add $5,000. Example: software engineer couple, both employed, great insurance, $7,000 in Tier 2. That's it. Everything else gets invested. Single parent teacher with okay insurance and student loans, $10,500 plus $3,000 for deductibles. That's $13,500 total. See? Completely different numbers for completely different risk profiles. The person with $25,000 saved in example 1, they're oversaved by $18,000. That should be invested and growing. The person in example 2 with $10,000 saved, they're actually a bit undersaved and need to build up more buffer. Your number is your number. Do the math, be honest about your risk, build the appropriate ladder. That's financial intelligence. And if you just realized your number is half what you've been hoarding, don't panic. Don't move it all tomorrow, but also don't pretend you didn't just see the math. You're seeing the framework, you're understanding the math, you're feeling the urgency. Now what? You don't flip a switch tomorrow, that's reckless. Instead, you transition gradually, strategically, while protecting yourself at every step. Here's what happens in the next 30 days. Week 1, face the number. Calculate your actual number using the framework. Write it down. Current emergency fund equals blank, your calculated need equals blank, high interest debt equals blank, monthly surplus to redirect equals blank. Look at it. Really look at it. If you're oversaved while carrying high interest debt, you're going to feel sick. That's normal. Sit with it. Week 2, redirect the money. If you have high interest debt, redirect all emergency fund contributions to debt payoff. Keep your $1,000 buffer. Everything else, debt. Open a high-yield savings account if you don't have one. Get your money out of a 0.1% account. Make sure you're contributing enough to your 401k to get the full employer match. If you're not, you're leaving free money on the table. Week 3, build the foundation. Ensure you have $1,000 to $2,000 in checking as your Tier 1 buffer. Start building Tier 2, 1 to 2 months in high-yield savings. If you're eligible, open a Roth IRA, even if you just put in $500. Get it started. Week 4, check how you feel. Review your progress. Look at what you've redirected. You're going to feel uncomfortable. You'll want to revert. That's your brain adjusting to a new pattern. Do it anyway. And then you keep going. You check in at 60 days, adjust if needed, but you don't stop. Once your high-interest debt is gone and your ladder is built, take everything beyond your calculated need and invest it. Set up automatic contributions to your Roth IRA, your 401k, or a taxable brokerage. You're not creating new risk, you're replacing false security with real strategy. And yeah, it'll feel weird at first. You'll want to check that savings balance and feel strange that it's lower. That's normal. Give it time. Trust the math.
6 months from now, when you look at your complete financial picture, debt gone, investments growing, proper liquidity in place, you're going to wish you'd started sooner. This isn't just about money. I mean, it is about money, obviously. But what we're really talking about is who you are and how you see yourself. The old way, the follow the rules, save 6 months, check the balance for comfort way, was safe, socially acceptable. Nobody would criticize you, but it was also small. It was the identity of someone trying not to fail rather than someone trying to win. Here's the shift. Old identity, I'm responsible because I have X dollars in savings. New identity, I'm strategically liquid and financially anti-fragile. Old belief, security equals a number in my account.
New belief, security equals capability, optionality, and smart resource deployment. Old behavior, checking savings balance for emotional comfort. New behavior, reviewing complete financial picture for strategic decisions. Old fear, what if there's an emergency? New confidence, I have multiple layers of protection and the skills to handle what comes. And here's what that looks like on a Tuesday morning. You don't check your savings balance anymore. You check your net worth. You see your debt dropping. You see your investments growing. And when something breaks, because something always breaks, you don't panic. You assess, you deploy, you handle it, because you're not playing defense anymore. You're playing the actual game. The shift is from rule follower to strategic thinker, from accumulator to optimizer, from someone who's scared to someone who's capable. And that identity shift, that's what creates actual wealth. Not just money, wealth, the kind that gives you options, flexibility, freedom. The person with $50,000 in savings and no investments, no skills growth, high interest debt, they're not wealthy. They're trapped in a comfortable-looking cage. The person with $5,000 in strategic liquidity, no bad debt, growing investments, and valuable skills, they're building actual wealth. They're becoming dangerous in the best possible way. That's who you're becoming, not someone who follows rules because they're supposed to, someone who understands principles and builds a strategy that works for their life. Here's what I need you to do in the next 24 hours. Not next week, not when you have time. In the next 24 hours. Step 1. Calculate your actual number using the formula. Write it down. Make it real. Step 2. Make one change today. If you have high-interest debt, schedule a payment right now. An extra $100, extra $500, whatever you can swing. Just do it. If you're oversaved and debt-free, open a Roth IRA or taxable brokerage account. You don't have to move all the money today, just open the account. Get the infrastructure in place. If you're not getting your full 401k match, log into your HR portal and increase your contribution percentage. Do it before you close this video. One action, today. Step 3, comment below with your situation. I'm serious, right? My actual number is this, but I've been keeping this in savings while carrying this in debt. Or, I calculated my number and I'm actually undersaved for my risk profile. Or, I just realized I've been oversaved by this and I'm moving it to investments this week. Let's normalize this conversation. Let's stop pretending everyone needs the same strategy. Look, I know this feels uncomfortable. I know you might be feeling regret about the time you've lost, the money you've sacrificed to this broken rule. Don't do that to yourself. You didn't know. You were following advice that sounded reasonable. You were doing your best with the information you had. But now you know better. And what you do with this information from this point forward, that's what matters. The best time to fix this was 5 years ago. The second best time is today. Every day you wait is another day of opportunity cost, another day of debt compounding against you, another day of your money sitting idle while inflation eats it. You don't get those days back, but you do get to decide what you do with the next 1,825 days, the next 5 years. 5 years from now, you'll look back at this moment as the day everything changed. Or you'll be watching another video like this, having the same realization, wishing you'd started earlier. Your emergency fund isn't lying to protect you. It's lying to keep you comfortable. And comfortable is expensive. Time is passing either way. 5 years from now, you'll either be glad you started or wondering why you didn't.